This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNN.Live. We're at the Planet MicroCap Showcase 2019 in Las Vegas. I have with me today Chris Castle from Chatham Rock Phosphate Limited. It's a publicly traded company and the symbol is NZP on the TSX-V. Welcome to SNN.Live.
Yeah, welcome, Shelley. It's really great to be here at this conference.
It's good to have you. Thank you for coming. Let's start with a brief overview of the company and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, the company's been set up to develop a phosphate prospect offshore New Zealand, out in the ocean. It's a marine deposit.
What's some history behind the company?
Well, the history is that back in 2007, world phosphate prices started to go up quickly, and I saw the opportunity and applied for a prospecting permit then, and subsequently got a mining permit in 2013. So we've been around for about 6 or 7 years at that point, and now we're applying for an environmental permit.
What's unique about your project?
I think, well, marine phosphate's not unique, but our particular deposit is interesting because it's an organic type of rock phosphate. It's a reactive phosphate rock, which means that it's much more environmentally friendly, and it's also ultra low in cadmium. It's one of the most special deposits in the world in terms of cadmium in the rock. And so that's going to mean it's going to be priced at an increasing premium over time because cadmium is becoming a food safety issue around the world.
What's your competitive advantage?
Its location primarily, because we're the only deposit of that nature in the Asia Pacific or Australasia area.
How big a land package do you have?
It's about 820 square kilometres, so it's quite a big deposit, but that sounds big, but the actual deposit itself is only 2 feet thick on the seafloor. So if you think of a layer sort of 2 feet thick, extending for hundreds of kilometres, that's what we've got.
Now, who's the offtake target?
We've identified buyers in 8 different countries. We've already talked to companies there because we've for a while, well, in fact we still have his services. We have a gentleman who worked for OCP, who the main exporters of rock phosphate around the world. He's worked for us in recent times and he's developed our markets for us. So a number of buyers in a number of different countries.
You know, so some investors might not know, but what is phosphate used for?
Phosphate's used for feeding people ultimately. Without phosphate, nitrogen and potash, the productivity of the land is much lower. So all those 3 fertilisers are used to increase the output of land, and that's particularly important as population is going up and the available land is going down. As development happens around the world, the arable land is reducing and what is there is being washed out into the ocean as well. So you need to get much better productivity from the soils, and those 3 fertilisers are critical for that.
Tell me a little bit about your management team.
The management team is I've got a group of marine geophysicists who were the people who first defined the deposit, and they go back to the early 80s. I've got 3 gentlemen who worked on the project back then who joined the team when I started it off again. I've got a environmental permitting director who's a world-class asset in her field. She's a director of the World Oceans Council. Her name is Renee Grogan. You'll hear a lot about her. She's done a lot of permitting of marine projects and others. She's probably our main asset, and I've got geologists and I've got other environmental scientists as well.
So I have a question about what's the logistics and the gathering process of the phosphate going to look like?
Yeah, you would have noticed before I didn't mention the fact that we had any mining engineers or in fact anybody processing. And the reason for that is the project or the deposit is contract mined. We've got an arrangement with a Dutch dredging company called Royal Boskalis, then they will dredge it for us on a contract basis and deliver it per tonne. So we don't have any involvement in the actual mining. We effectively buy the rock phosphate from them when it arrives at port in New Zealand, and we sell it for almost 2.5 times as much immediately to buyers offshore and in New Zealand. It's a very, very simple business.
All right, let's get your website out there for our investor audience.
Okay, the website is www.rockphosphate.co.nz.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Castle, Chatham Rock Phosphate Limited. It's a publicly traded company and the symbol is NZP on the TSX-V. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNN.Live. We're coming to you live from the Planet MicroCap Showcase 2019 in Las Vegas. Chris?
Thank you very much, Shelley. That's tremendous. It's great to be here It's a great show.
Thank you for coming such a long distance to be here.
Oh, well, that was easy.